Making Big Shifts, presented by Marketing Reboot, with your host, Josh Anderson.
Welcome to Making Big Shifts by Marketing Reboot. I'm your host, Josh Anderson. Come along with me as we spotlight real entrepreneurs making real changes and the real results that followed. We'll follow their playbooks, the pitfalls, the pros and cons, and we'll learn how to scale without the chaos. So let's get at it today. Today, I'm really honored to be joined by Robert Allen, who's a New York Times bestselling author and the author of #1 Bestseller, which shows you how you can become a bestselling author in only 30 minutes per day. So welcome to the podcast, Robert.
Hey, Josh. Hey, everybody. We're so excited that you're here. You know why? Because that lets us know that you want to change your life and you want to make a big shift in your life. And you wouldn't have invested the time to be here if you didn't have that in your mind. And today we're going to shift you. I'm going to tell you how to shift your life. Josh is going to shift you into the marketing side to reboot your marketing, and I'm going to shift you on how to 10 times what he's going to tell you how to do.
There we go. I love that energy. Heck yeah, let's do it. Yeah, because as we were talking before the podcast, one of the biggest shifts you can really make is taking all your personal experiences with business and everything like that and making it into a public facing book, right? That's like bringing people from the outside into your thought process and everything. So that's a scary process, right? So how do people, if they want to do that, get started with that big shift?
If you have a business, there are a lot of ways to multiply it and to learn how to do your marketing. Like Josh teaches you how to market reboot, how to reboot it. Man, you want to reboot it not to be the same. You want to reboot it to 10 times more than what you've got now, right?
Yeah.
So the fastest way to reboot your business is to have a best-selling book. And if you don't believe me, just one day, just as an experiment, when you're introducing yourself to somebody, introduce yourself in whatever else you do, whatever else you sell, about whatever business you own, whatever credentials you put at the end of your name. And you're introducing yourself and you'd say, I'm now on the way to be a #1 best-selling author. And just notice the way they look at you.
Yeah.
Instantly, they give you credibility that you don't have when you tell them about your business. You tell them about your business and they go, ho hum, why do I care?
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care about what you're selling unless what you're selling makes their life better.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, since you're just talking to an ordinary person, you don't know if they're the kind of
Right.
marketing person you're trying to sell something to. But when you have a best-selling book, everybody is interested.
Mm-hmm.
Because 80% of the people, according to New York Times, want to write a book. Yet only 1% ever do. Why is that? Well, because they have these beliefs about what it takes to do that. And obviously what we'll be talking about today is my #1 bestseller, because that's the title. So you can't forget it. #1 bestseller, how you can become a best-selling author in 30 minutes a day or less than 30 minutes a day. In other words, most people don't think they can do it. And when they get into starting it, they try to write a few words. They're not very good at writing words. They've never been trained on to do that. English was my worst subject in high school. I almost flunked that class. And yet, how come I'm a #1 bestseller? Because I don't tell my story. My story, and all of people who write their books think they got to write your story. Like,
Right.
this is how I did it. This is how I made my money. This is why I'm good. If you're writing an autobiography, then nobody wants it. And it'll be the dumbest thing you can do. The worst word in the first chapter of your book is the word I, me, my, or mine. And the best word you can put in there is the word you, your, yours, or ours.
Yeah.
And if you got to make sure they get immediately into your book and realize that this is not a book about you bragging about yourself. It's about how your story is going to make their story better. And therefore, the most famous radio station in the world is WIIFM. You've heard that before?
Yeah.
What's in it for me? They don't care about your story. They only care if you're going to help them solve or satisfy 2 things. And therefore, your book needs to be written this way. And the same thing for you, Josh, when you write your book. They have an urgent problem or a burning passion.
Yeah.
You have to write your book as if a person wanted a solution to one of those 2 things or both. So my very first book was called Nothing Down, a proven program that shows you how to buy real estate with little or no money down. What is the urgent problem and the burning passion that they
Cash
solve?
up front. Yeah.
They need cash, they need credit, they need cash flow, they need collateral. The bank is going to tell them no. And this is the answer to that. And in addition to that, the dream of Americans is to own their own home. And now it's gotten harder and harder with the prices
Mhm.
going up and up and up, and less people can do it. Therefore, I satisfy their dream and I solve their problem at the same time. That's why this has sold 1 million copies. And
Yeah, it's almost like
your
yeah, as the author, you're just the guide to help them solve their problem, of course, right? It's like the hero
totally.
journey.
But
Yeah,
most people don't write their books that way.
yeah.
And Josh, I bet if you got your book sold without reading this book, I'm going to send him a free copy, by the way. And I'll give a copy to all of you. I'll give a copy of that book. You don't go to Amazon. They'll spend 15 to 20 to $30 to get that book, but you won't have a lot of the bonuses that come if you buy it if I give it to you for free.
Okay.
So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that all of you need a book, period, end of story. And some of you may say, well, I'm not good at that. Well, Grok and AI and ChatGPT, they are great at that. The world has changed in publishing. It's unbelievable shift. Talk about a shift. This podcast is called a shift. The ground is shifted under your feet when it comes to getting information done and created, because
Oh,
these AI programs do it for you. It's crushingly good.
yeah.
I watched it my own life. I teach people how, one-on-one, I work with people to become #1 bestsellers. And I would work with them every single week. They'd write some words, I'd read them, we'd design how it should look. And then the very next week, this is just like a couple of months ago, the very next week, the guy goes, well, here's what I wrote this week. And he shows me, and it was like, boy, you took every suggestion I told you last week and you really did everything that I told you to do. This is really good. Congratulations. And he says, well, it was me and Grok. Me and ChatGPT did that. And I said, and I've seen ChatGPT. I was out there for 6 months in my life too. And when my own students started teaching me
Yeah, yeah.
how incredible the words were, the ChatGPT would come up with the titles, the outline of the whole dang book, the content that would need to be in every chapter, and then would write the frickin' chapter.
Yeah.
And then the hard part comes, okay, I get the words done. Let me back up just a minute. You want to write a best-selling book, there's 2 words you have to know. Number 1 is the word word. You got to write words. And those words, however they get on the page, have got to be good. And there are 2 kinds of words, marketing words and messaging words. And most people write messaging words. You're a marketer and you know how important marketing is.
Hmm.
The words on the cover of your book are marketing words. They're designed to entice,
Yeah.
not to teach. The chapter titles, table of contents, every one of those chapter titles, marketing words. They're designed to get them to open up the book to read it, not to tell them what's in the chapter, not to teach them what's there, but to entice them to go look.
Yeah.
And so there's marketing that needs to be done in order to make your book work. So words is the first thing. I got to get my words down. They got to be good. They got to be marketing oriented and messaging oriented. Message got to be good too. And I told you the 2 worst words, or the worst word and the best words in the first chapter is I and you, right?
Yeah.
The second word you got to master if you want to be a best-selling author is you have to master the word names. You'll have to get the names of the people who want to buy my book. The avatars, I don't want to just write a book for a specific avatar. I got to get their name
Yeah.
on a database so I can talk to them. And you're a marketer, understand that. So names is important, and most authors never go that far. They go to a publisher assuming the publisher is going to sell it to the names. Now, the publisher is not going to sell your book. They're going to distribute it to a bookstore
Yeah. Yeah.
amongst 10,000 other titles. And if it doesn't make it, their bookstore is going to send your book back. And the publisher is going to say, oops, guess it didn't sell. Not that they didn't sell it.
Right.
It didn't sell. And they're going to say, would you like to buy your own book back? We have 1,000 of them in the inventory here. And if you'd like to buy them, it's a $30 book. Say it's a $20 book.
Yeah.
You can buy it for 10. Well, you don't want to buy it for 10 because the cost of a lead is going to cost you, 10 bucks a lead minimum. And if I got to spend $10 to give them a book in addition to that.
Yeah.
So that goes into marketing. What I'm trying to say is you got to do both. You got to be a #1 bestseller. So you, Josh, you wanted to have a traditionally published book. You're going to enter in a world where they won't let you do that stuff or they don't understand it. And so first, Josh, you want to do, I say we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
And Josh didn't have his own book. I'm thinking, what? You don't have your own book? What's the matter with you? So he said, well, I've been talking to an agent and I'm going to go, don't make that stupid mistake. No, you need to sell it, Josh, because you're a marketer.
Yeah.
You know how to market. So you're going to give it cost plus shipping and you're going to get out there and you're going to have an upsell for $100 a course or something. And then you're going to make your money back on advertising. So the leads are free for you. You want to make 1x, 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x for every dollar you put in advertising. And then you can spend like as much money as you want. And then you can make you make it a bestseller. You build your database. Then you go to the publisher. Then you go to the agent. And the agent, you're going to say to the agent, I'm special. I've got my own platform. I market my own books every single day. I know how to sell this sucker. And I'm going to have when I get this book out there through your publisher, your publisher is going to have constant sales coming into the bookstore because I'm selling it. And the bookstore isn't going to sell it. And the publisher isn't going to sell it, but I'm selling it. I'm driving traffic in the bookstore. And in order for me to do that and spend that kind of money on advertising, you're going to give me 1,000 copies when you publish it. You're going to give them to me. And in addition to that,
right?
every year I'm going to have 1,000 books that you're going to also let me buy from you at your cost plus $1 or $2.
Yeah.
In other words, you're not going to lose any money on any book that ever gets sold through you. I'm going to buy them from you. I'm going to buy 1,000 copies right now. I'm going to buy, but it's going to be your cost plus $1 or
cost
$2.
plus $1. Okay.
Plus exactly to the publisher. I never thought of it that way. Very good, good thinking. Good thinking. Cost plus. So the publisher's going to hate that, and the agent is going to not believe it's possible. And then you just say there are 1,000 other publishers in this country who are going to kill for that deal. You have power right now. You, Josh, have no power. You have a small episode of a podcast you're just getting rolling, and you don't have a platform.
Yeah.
Right. But you need a book to build a platform, and then you can go get it published. And the publisher will love you, and they'll print them for you. Now, of course, Amazon will print the books for you, because they do one-to-one publishing. But anyway, so if any of you have ever thought of writing a book, then don't write it until you read this first chapter called The 12 Stupid Mistakes that Most Authors Make. And it's this before you write a single word. And the problem with some of you, you've already written your book and it's already out there in the world. And let me ask you a serious question. How's it doing? How's that going for you? And I'll bet you $100 that of the people who respond to this will say, yeah, I've sold a couple hundred copies.
Yeah.
Because they went and spent money on some pseudo publisher and paid money to have the publisher do it for them, charge them 10, 20, 30, 40 grand.
Yeah.
And all they did is they just put it up on Amazon. But you can do that.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. So a lot of these pseudo publishers, they don't get you the names. They don't help you build a database and have constant marketing behind it.
Nurturing,
so they have an upsell business to it.
Yeah.
So a book is not a book. A book is a business. If you don't treat it like a business, then your business will have trouble.
Yeah.
What's your biggest problem in business? What's your biggest problem?
It's usually lead acquisition, right?
Lead acquisition. Hello.
I know. Whenever we jumped on intro ourselves, we barely even talked, and you instantly said, "What's your upsell?" Like that. I think that's a brilliant way to think about it, right? Because everything you produce, especially if it takes time, money, resources.
Because this has to have hints in here. You'll see hints in here that I have a program called the Accelerator Program. It's a couple $1,000. Then I have an upsell, which is, hey, you want me to be your co-author? Well, that's serious money there. Yeah. But let's start a business and I'll get a little piece of your business. But Would you like to have 80% of the business that really works, or 100% of the business that doesn't?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what you should be doing, Josh. Yeah, you should be doing that. Anyway,
No, that's great insight. I want to kind of peel back a little bit, just kind of go back to where like, and this is for a small subset of listeners, but I'm still curious, especially as we're talking about how do people, if they already have a book out there, how could they reboot their sales on that book? Well, what is the best way for them to do that? Like if they went the traditional way or whatever.
okay, so there are several ways to do that. First way is your social media. Okay, now most of the time you have to write your social media or get AI to write it for you, but somebody's got to do it. And so the fastest way to use social media is cut your book up into 65 pieces. You know,
Yeah.
just a couple of paragraphs, really.
Yep. It's a good call.
So in each paragraph, you're going to, when you do your social media, you say, this comes from chapter 3 of XYZ book. Would you like a copy?
Yeah.
Well, just click on this link and go to this opt-in page, and I will give you a copy.
Yep.
And now, if you don't give them a copy, it could be cost plus shipping.
Yep.
And if it's cost plus shipping, then you go to there. And now, if you like the digital version, which doesn't cost me a lot of money to deliver to you, then I can give you that for free. If you like cost plus shipping, then the book is, it's $9, $10, something like that. Be able to buy it at a cheap price if you organize that right. So your leads are going to cost you, for a physical book, it's going to cost you about, $10, $12.
Yeah.
But that lead is better than a free lead. The free lead is not going to be nearly as strong. They probably won't even have read it. They'll go, oh, they give me free stuff away. Yeah, I'll take one of that. That goes into their email and they never look at it. But if they get a physical book at their front door, yeah, they're a much, much higher qualified lead.
I've been in those funnels too. Like you get the free book and you just pay shipping, right? And then I'm still subscribed to their newsletter a year later. I'm not actually purchasing anything, but I'm still in there because I'm still a little bit vested in it.
Yeah, there you go. So one way is to do social media because you need the name. And I have the name now, you can offer them a free this or free that. I do a free thing called an author summit. And it's a 2-day event. It's like 4 hours one day, 3 hours another. And we talk about the 12 stupid mistakes and then the 12 specific steps you need to take. So it's free. And then at the end of that, I say, you want to work with us? You want to be on our team? Accelerator. You want to be a co-author with me? Oh, that's different. And therefore we do nicely. I enjoy it. I like it. I like to do it.
Nice. Now there's so many ways I want to go with all that, what we just talked about there. But one thing I do want to double down on, because I have a lot of guests, we do talk about AI on here a lot. Of course, that's like the big thing, of course. So in terms of AI in writing, what's your recommendations for that? Of course, like, so somebody mocks up their chapters. I guess, what is your recommendation? They need to go in there and of course, edit and make it their own, or what's the suggestions on that?
Yes. What ChatGPT does is you ask it, I'm thinking of writing a book and it's going to be about marketing. We were thinking about marketing boot camp or marketing bootstrap with boots. So marketing, what was it called? Marketing. Marketing
Reboots.
Marketing reboot. That was it. That was the word I was looking for. Marketing. I was thinking bootstrap instead of reboot. I was thinking the boot. No, I was thinking, I want to have like 10 chapters. I want to have the principles. What are the principles of marketing? I want to make sure I hit, but what's fresh, what's new stuff that, I've gone really deep on the really more important. So you give it your outline and bam, a minute later, you got the outline of your book.
Yeah. I don't like, I use GPT for a lot of things, and after you use it for a long time, months and months to years, it kind of does. And if you give it good feedback, right, it's starting to know your verbiage and kind of get to know your tone and voice as well, right? So that's going to be put into that.
And if you ask it to write a page or a paragraph or a couple of pages, sometimes ChatGPT just gets it wrong, just doesn't do it right. So you have to edit your own stuff. Yeah. But sometimes there's brilliance in there you would have never thought of before.
That's so true.
I got to keep that. Well, what I did is I took my book and, of course, my 40 years of experience in being a best-selling author. I loaded all up into ChatGPT, loaded up this book. And so before it goes into the universe it looks through my stuff first,
Totally.
and I call it bestseller coach. And so bestseller
Yeah.
coach means I put in all the prompts so that when a person wants to write a book, the prompt's are ready.
Yeah.
And then they just say, yes,
Yeah.
yes, do that prompt for me.
Heck yeah.
So we AI is just changing the world.
I've always treated it kind of like the Hemingway quote, write drunk, edit sober. Like the GPT is like my drunk writing, right? And then I'm editing it because it can hallucinate, right? So then you make sure it's in line with what you expect.
Well, it's gotten a lot less drunk lately.
That is true. It's getting better. That's for sure.
It really has.
So let's just go back for 40 years ago. What made you write your first?
Thank you. I sat through a class with Stephen Covey when I was 22, and he said, "What are your goals?" And I wrote down, "I want to parachute, I want to go scuba diving, and I want to write a book." Now, why? I had no experience, no knowledge. I was an idiot. But my mentor was very successful. He had some regionally successful books, but not his big book, Stephen Covey. His big book was 10 years, in the making. But I was inspired by his story. And so I wrote those goals down and forgot about them until I got my MBA, started investing in real estate on the side, made $1 million in real estate investing. And then it popped into my head, it's time to write your book now. And I really believe that was an inspired thought, actually. And so I made it a #1 bestseller. It was the right title at the right time with the right kind of marketing behind it. And then Covey, his team approached me and said, we want to do what you did. So will you help make? Now I have a little piece of the ownership of that. No, I don't own it. I want the experience of making that.
Yeah.
Because he hired my marketing guy away from me.
Okay.
So he brought with him
Interesting.
all of my secrets, brought it to his team and his whole company, right? And then he edited. I did my edits on it,
Yeah.
told him what I liked and didn't like. Then it sold 40 million copies. But I wrote my first book as this thought popped in my head up and made my first million. And I didn't realize it'd be that hard, frankly. It was a couple of years, getting it out there. But I was doing the right kind of marketing and doing big thinking. For example, talk about you as a marketing coach and expert. Guess who I went to at the beginning of my seminar business? I went to the #1 marketing guy in the world, Jay Abraham.
Okay. Yeah, I got some books over here.
$25,000 back when I couldn't afford it. And boy, am I glad I did that.
Cut the learning curve, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, cut the learning curve. So we're talking about making big shifts. The biggest shift you can make is get the best person you can get on your team, no matter what they cost.
That's huge. That's great advice for sure.
If you don't do that, then you get to do the long, slow way, and it'll be expensive, and more than likely you'll fail your way before you make it. You get the most expensive, the best, the #1 guy on the planet, and you pay them what they're worth.
Very good. Yeah, that's gold.
And some people can't think that big. That's a shift. That's a massive shift. And yet, so they'll pick somebody that, Josh, you're not #1 in the world, but you're damn good.
Yeah.
You're good. You understand this business. And so your fee would be certainly not what Jay Abraham charged me 40 years ago.
Right.
But you'd be much less than what Jay charged me 40 years ago. But if they're trying to do their marketing by having a marketing team,
Totally.
they're hiring a bunch of employees. The employees, they don't get it because they're working for a paycheck. They don't understand what an entrepreneur has to do. An entrepreneur. So they need to hire an entrepreneur like you.
Yeah.
Who does it every day, who markets it every day, and not have an employee tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Because employees don't think big enough. So not the right shift. They would be shifting outside their company to go bring in somebody in. And that's what I would do.
Well, I mean, if you kind of go that route, you're paying the employee to learn what they're, you know what I mean? You're paying for their training essentially.
That's right. And then they're going to leave you.
Yeah.
They're going to go to some other else, get a higher salary, and then you're bringing another learner.
Train up again. Yeah, exactly.
Another trainer again. No, I don't want to do that.
So, that goal you just gave was like hire the best when if you're trying to learn something quickly. For the people that are, say, like me and you, before this conversation, you and I were talking about, like the book I have in mind that I'm working on. I'm putting, I guess, pen to paper figuratively, but what is the best first step for somebody? Is it to get your ideas out there, or like, how do you get started?
To do what? Get started to write a book?
To write, literally just write your own book. Is it that simple? Is there no golden advice? Because I think a lot of people are just, what you mentioned earlier, people are like, nobody cares about my story. And it doesn't have to be about your story, which we hit on earlier. Yeah, just the underlying advice you give somebody just to get started.
Well, let me give you a free copy of my book. Really, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Or go buy one at #1 bestseller. Go to Amazon, buy it. It's there. You can, I think the digital version is like $4.99, and this software is $12.99 and $32 for the hardcover. Yeah, go get one. Just get one and read it, because that will tell you what not to do, and it'll tell you exactly what to do. And if you haven't read, so now I'll tell you what to do if you don't read the book, right? So you need to set aside 30 minutes a day. If you don't, the biggest response I get from the people on my Author Summits class, which is free every month, and we have hundreds and hundreds of people come onto that class, and I'll ask them all, how long you've been wanting to write a book? And it's decades, sometimes an entire lifetime. And the reason is because they keep procrastinating, and they have a thought pop into their head as, I think I should write my book now. And then they have this competing thought come in like, yeah, but you don't know enough yet. And
Yeah.
I'm going to be a little spiritual here with a minute for you. I think the first thought was God telling you, write your darn book. That's why you were sent to the planet, to learn lessons you couldn't learn in any other way in a shorter period of time. You learned lessons. You learned them. It's just they were very, very expensive to learn. It took longer than you wanted. It was more expensive than you wanted. It was more painful than you wanted. But darn it, you learned the lesson.
You learned them,
So
yeah.
write them down so I don't have to pay for your stupid mistakes, right? So write them down. And therefore, the second nudge you get is from a darker force that knows you could change lives and doesn't want you to do it yet, and has you put it off tomorrow.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's a spiritual conversation. And for 25 years, you've been told clearly, write your book. And for 25 years, you have been deaf to what the universe has been telling you by listening to the wrong forces. And therefore, you have what you have now, which is no book and a business that's hard to sell and no way to generate good leads, free leads that are qualified.
Yeah.
And therefore, you get what you deserve. You don't follow the idea to write your book, then you don't
Yeah.
deserve to be a best-selling author.
Yep.
And you can do it in 30 minutes a day.
That's awesome. Well, how do people join, or how do they sign up for the Author Summit, or just to get more of your information about you?
Thank you. Author Summits, plural.com. Author Summits.
Yeah, guys, go join that.
And you go there, and there's a little message from me, and
Yeah.
sign up, and it's free. And I guarantee you, during those 5-6 hours we spend together, I guarantee you'll come away knowing exactly what not to do and exactly what to do. And I'm going to give you a copy of the book. There's no money for it. That's my gift to you, because I want the world to have more books. I love the book.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on today, Robert. This is very high energy. I love the advice you gave today, so I really appreciate you coming on.
My best to you, Josh. Good luck. And when you come to authorsummits.com, we'll see if we can work together or not.
There we go. All right.
See you, everybody.
What's that?
See ya. Love you.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Thanks for listening to Making Big Shifts by Marketing Reboot, where we help business leaders focus on what truly matters and cut through the chaos. Subscribe for more real stories and hard-won lessons. I'm Josh Anderson. Thanks for Robert once again, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to Making Big Shifts. Like, share, and follow for more. Join us next time on Making Big Shifts, presented by Marketing Reboot,